Welcome to the Songwriter Connection podcast, where we look at the craft of songwriting through the eyes of the songwriter. Each week, we make a connection with a music maker, listen to their songs, and hear their stories. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenihan.
I've been waiting a while to do this interview, and I'm so excited to have you make the connection today. Once again, and back with us is the Dr. Reverend Kim McLean. How are you, Kim?
I'm great, Dave.
I should tell you right off that we are taping the pre-recording, as we should say. You just tape anymore. Pre-recording for a later release, and we're right closing in on we're deep into the holiday season. Yeah. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Well, it's a nice this is a stress buster here.
Yeah, a stress buster from the holidays, right? Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit about Kim. She has been on the show a couple of times, once with Eve Salis, who we just adore,
yes.
and once with your students at Trevecca University.
Yes.
You were teaching the songwriting classes there.
Yeah, for a while.
That was fun. But today we're going to focus in on you. And let me just remind you, she's a Dove Award-winning songwriter, twice Grammy-nominated. Her songs have been recorded by Tim McGraw, Leanne Womack. A song that I absolutely love was by Trisha Yearwood, Harmless Heart.
Yeah.
There's blues artists and Christian artists. She's been writing songs, and she's just an amazing songwriter. You'll hear her songs in TV and film. She's been her songs have been on The West Wing, Cold Case, Early Edition, Hope and Faith, lots of TV shows. She is an award winner from ASCAP and NASAI, the Nashville Songwriters Association. She's a singer, songwriter, producer, studio musician, an author. We're going to talk a lot about this new book that she has out called A Song and a Prayer that you wrote with Loretta Lynn.
I did. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So, man.
Yeah.
You never know what'll happen.
Yeah. You were good friends. How did you and Loretta Lynn meet?
Oh my goodness. We had a soul connection as far as I could tell from the very start. I was at a little writer's night in Kingston Springs.
Oh, okay.
A little place called the Filling Station. And her family, I knew Patsy. I had met Patsy and Peggy, the twins, long ago, like when I first moved to town, because I was writing for a publishing company called Little Big Town. Little Big Town.
It was your first publishing deal, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And Patsy and Peggy had come in. They would not have remembered me from that point, but you know, this is known as the Little Big Town, the music industry in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so our paths crossed through the years, and Philip, Patsy's husband, is a friend. And I was at this little writer's night I may have played that night. I can't remember, but I know that I was sitting supporting Patsy's kids, and Patsy had invited me to write with her daughter, Emmy, Emmy Russell, who is doing great thing on her way, doing so beautifully these days. Yeah. And Emmy I met Emmy, ironically, through my son, who was Emmy's age. So lots of just, dots connecting everywhere. Wow. So I'm watching the rest of the writer's night, and Patsy came over and said, "Mama's in the car. Would you like to meet her?"
Wow.
And then I realized that Loretta had been at the show to watch her grandkids play, but she stayed out in the car for probably obvious reasons and was watching from the car. And she was just delighted. She was just had that big Loretta Lynn smile on, watching from her white SUV. And so Patsy escorted me over to the parking lot, and down went the window, and there sat Loretta.
Wow.
And for me, it was an instant, I thought I would be so intimidated.
Yeah.
And when you're in this business for a long time, and your job is to write for the stars, and your job is to not be intimidated by them, because you're writing songs for them that they've got to sing for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
You've got to get past that thing.
It's so true. And I laugh because I'm the same way. I remember interviewing Willie Nelson, and I'm like, oh my God. Willie's right in front of me.
Yes.
And you're like...
Yeah, but you can't talk. You can't be authentic if you're all not treating them like they're a human being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet you have this awe and this respect. And so I thought, oh gosh, I'm probably not going to do this well because she's such an icon, and I grew up listening to her. And and she said, "Well, hey there," and and everything in me melted with, I have known you forever. I don't know how this is happening right now, but you're still on the pedestal, but you're my sister, my friend, and my sister in Christ, and you're just Loretta. You're my friend Loretta. And so we talked for a little bit, and the conversation, we talked about songs a little bit, and music and God. I mean, music and God. And so the next week I got a call from Patsy and said, would you just come over and just be with Mom and just, you guys talk some more. This is a good connection, and she needs to, she wants to talk about God all the time in the same way that I hear you talking about God. Like, you're such close friends. I said, well, yeah. And so I went over and she said, and by the way, we like your songwriting, and we've watched you through the years. And if you and Mama happen to write a song, that'd be fine too.
That'd be fine too.
She needs to keep writing just because she's got a lot to say. And so, just take a guitar if you want to. Or there's guitars there. So I went over to the house that following week, and I think I might have held my hand up to knock on the door. Well, I rang a doorbell and nothing happened. And then I think I held my hand up to tap on the window about 3 times before I could actually get myself to tap. To get past the intimidation again.
Wow.
And then this person that was caretaking came to the door, said, "Oh, Loretta, can't wait to see you." And again, I just felt so welcome.
Did you?
So I walked in with a Bible, a guitar slung over my shoulder, my journal, of course, and a Nazarene hymnal, and ready to, and a set of communion elements. Yeah. Because I had this feeling that we were going to pray together, and that we were going to have church. And
I should tell folks, you have your own church. You're pastor of
I do
Music City West. In Bellevue.
Yes, Music City West Church of the Nazarene, okay. I've been an ordained elder in that denomination since 2009. Wow. And that was
Doctor of Divinity, right? Is that right?
I am. Well, I have my doctorate in education actually, but did all of the ministerial studies and did a master's degree in religion. And so, that's been something that has been my life path for longer than most of my friends knew. I think I just it's been an interesting journey, but it got me to this day of walking in, meeting Loretta, and we sang "It Is Well With My Soul." We had communion. I anointed her with oil and prayed for her because she wasn't feeling too good. And then she felt better. And then we sang. And then we talked. And then the conversation turned into a song.
Oh, that's
the way it went.
Your first song that day?
Yes, that's the way it went from then on.
There on it. Because she still felt the need to write.
Oh.
I think songwriters are like that.
Yes. You can't stop a songwriter from writing. No. You're a songwriter, you know this.
You can try, but you can't.
I can be preaching a sermon, and suddenly I realize I've just said a whole passage with a rhyme scheme, and I think, I guess I'll go write this sermon with a melody later.
I went to your church one time, in your sermon, I'm sitting there taking, there's a song.
Yeah.
I never thought of that,
We speak in hooks. It becomes...
And
songwriting becomes your second language. I put in my 10,000 hours, and I had the opportunity to move here when I was 26 years old. Had the opportunity to learn with some of the best writers in the business who trained me. Some of the best publishers in the business who trained me. And then they saw my natural talent. But you can't make it on talent alone, and nobody makes it alone.
You're right.
So
you got to have those mentors along the way and people that can help. Yeah. And I remember in an interview with you in the past that this really touched me. I remember you saying that you would go into your room and kneel down and pray, because it didn't count unless you're on your knees, you said, and you'd pray for the gift of songwriting. Yeah,
I did. I was 14 years old. Yeah, and it was very specific, but that seed had been planted in my heart years before then. Yeah. I just always knew. I never felt like I had to seek a vocation. I never wondered what I would be when I grew up. Or
you just always knew it was going to be music,
songwriting. Yeah.
And your grandma taught you to play piano?
Piano, yeah. She could. She wrote a couple of songs, but she could go from Chopin's Prelude in C to What a Friend We Have in Jesus at the Baptist Church to Tommy Dorsey Boogie, completely improvised. So
Mash them all up.
Yeah, so I got my eclectic.
Love it.
I only ever understood music as an eclectic, a very eclectic art form. I understood songwriting and notes and the whole construction of music, either with or without music, lyrics. I understood that as one medium, as opposed to, like, if you compared visual art and music. With visual art, you might do oil pastels, or you might do acrylic, or you might do sculpting, or you might... Well, to me, music was just one medium. And I think that we do, in the discipline of music, especially in the universities, there's or the university versus, or classical music versus contemporary music, which then contemporary music and commercial music gets divided in all these different genres that seem different, you know, from classical to country to pop to rap. To me, it was always, it's just all the same.
Music.
It's not different mediums. Those formats are still, you're still using.
Well, you know, when you're saying that, what comes to my mind is you sculpt a song, you paint with words.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But that image is just as important, you know?
Yes, and you're still using the same ingredients.
Yeah.
You're still using the same 12-note scale.
Yeah.
You're still using the same basic chord structures, you know, in the Western...
That give it the
music.
Texture, you know, which is important in art.
Yeah, so it's really not the same as having different mediums in visual art. With music, it's all the same medium. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm driving the metaphor a little too far now.
I don't think so. I'm right there with you. I'm there with you. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful playground. So I never did, even though country music started providing me a living early on, and then Christian music, in my mind, inadvertently, you can take the girl out of the church, but you can't take the church out of the girl. So I was kind of keeping my faith as...
You grew up in a religious background, family?
Sort of a hybrid, but we didn't go to church consistently. It was me. My mother taught me faith. My grandmother had helped charter a church. One of my grandfathers was a preacher. But I would not say that I grew up in a particularly religious background. I just was drawn to it.
Yeah.
And I saw the way my mother, her years at church and her years away from church, I saw this love for God that was undeniable, and I saw how God helped her and how God was with her. And she had, I mean this in a godly sort of way, she had these psychic abilities that were, you know, in the Bible we had prophets and we had prophetesses and we had seers and sages, and I saw that kind of wisdom
in your mom?
In my mom, and how she would say, "Oh, the Lord showed me this is going to happen, and then it will happen, and all this." But I saw this visceral love for God in her, and I saw how it sustained her through some unimaginable circumstances. And I saw how, because of that faith, it gave me a better life than she had.
How about that?
So, I'm sorry, it makes me cry.
No, I understand.
But it was that faith that gave her strength.
It's been a real bittersweet year for you. You lost your mom this year, unfortunately.
Yes, Loretta passed a few months before our book was released, and my mother passed 2 weeks before our book was released. So my two sheroes left right before we were about to do this thing, and there I stood by myself in this field of gold going, oh gosh, okay. But they're with me in a more powerful way than maybe they would have been.
Yeah, no, I believe that.
So, yeah.
And so proud. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was all love.
Yeah.
So was Loretta.
And your mom and Loretta, they got along. Didn't she? I saw that Loretta called your mom at one point.
Oh my gosh! Oh, you want to hear it? I can play you.
Do you have it?
I have it with me.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. You can hear.
I'd love to. Tell me the story.
So Loretta had a stroke in 2018. The same year I met her. I met her in June, and she had a stroke early in that year.
Okay, so it was after the stroke then that you...
I met her after the stroke, and that was why she wasn't getting out. She still had a tour planned when she had the stroke. And my mother had a stroke not long after I met Loretta. So Loretta would tell me things to tell Mom to do to help her recover from her stroke, because Mom was trying to learn to walk again. That did not end up happening. But Loretta would say, well, I'm praying for your mom. When I'd say, well, Loretta, I can't come next week. I'm going to see my mom in North Carolina. And she said, well, tell your mom I'm praying for her. And then I'd get to Greensboro and I'd tell Mom, Loretta Lynn is my friend now, Mom, and she's praying for you. She said, oh, I like her music. And so then when I'd go back, my mom would say, as I was leaving, she would say, tell your friend, the one with the brown hair who sings, tell her I'm praying for her too. Oh. And because the stroke had made it hard to find some words sometimes. She was very clear, but there were just some little bits. So Mom and Loretta prayed for one another. And so the next time I had come back I was going to be going to a trip, and Loretta said, why don't you send Mom a message just from you? Like, why don't we record it? And she said, okay. And so I turned my phone on. You want to hear it? Okay.
Let's hear it.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. I'm ready. What's her name? Her name is Janice. Janice Ann. Oh, Janice Ann? Uh-huh. Okay. I'm ready. Hello, Janice Ann. This is Loretta Lynn. And me and your daughter are sitting here singing gospel music, and we want you to know we love you, and we wish you was here to sing with us. And we want to dedicate one of these songs to you, honey. All right. I love you, Mom. I love you too, Mom.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mom heard it. She said, isn't that sweet?
That's sweet.
And then you tell her I said thank you, and I'm praying for her too.
Oh,
that was really tender, special.
Oh, that's funny somehow the stories are all intertwined. It's just the way life is, isn't it?
Yeah.
How about
for sure.
That? When did you and Loretta decide you wanted to write this book?
Why?
Yeah, when? And how it all came about.
Oh.
And why, I guess.
Well, I can't tell a story short, so let me,
that's all right.
Let me tear into this.
This is such a cool book. And folks, I want to tell you, it's out there. It's called A Song and a Prayer. And I really highly recommend the audio version, which I have as well. Because the audio version you read.
I got to read it, yes.
And you play the songs. It's meant to be a song and a prayer. And so
did.
we have the prayer, and then you sing a song, and it's awesome.
Oh, I got to read. Yes, that was neat that the publisher wanted me to play songs and tell the stories behind the songs a little bit. So, and it was very, very much fun reading the book. Well, how the book came about, it began with a song. So the first song that we wrote that first day that we met was a song called Better Way to Say Goodbye. Oh. And the way that song happened, and this will lead to how we wrote the book, I promise.
That's okay.
But Loretta and I were getting to know each other a little better, and it was like we'd always known each other. I'm going to turn to that page of this song. And so she wanted to know my story. She said, well, tell me what's been going on in your life. And, how are you? What's going on in your world these days? And I started whining a little bit. And something I say in the introduction to the book is I had a newly broken heart. And what better shoulder to cry on than the queen of country music?
Really?
And so I I thought, well, there's no sense in not being real about this. No names were named. I just said, oh, Loretta, my heart is so broken. And I said, well, I'm going to write a song. I'm just now to the point where this is really fresh, and I've got this song idea I'm kind of starting about it. She said, well, tell me what you got started about it. And she wasn't saying it like, well, let's write it, or like even one of your songs. It's more like songwriting is your second language. Like, I could probably hear this story better about your heart through the song. I said, well, and I picked up the guitar and I said, well, I'm going to start it with these two lines. And the lines were, you could have stuck a note on the door. You could have left a letter on the table. But you did not have to break my heart the way you did. I mean, just say goodbye and leave, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It was one of those kind of...
Yeah.
And she said, oh. And well, what all happened? And well, what all... I said, well, this and this and this, and I'm kind of crying, and so she said, well, those lines, sing me those for me the way you're doing it. So I picked up the guitar and I sang the lines. She said, that'll be better if you'll flip those lines around the other way. And I said, oh.
Wow.
Yeah. She said, because that's really more the way that would happen and how you'd say it. And so I flipped the lines around and sang them to her. And within an hour, we had the song.
There's a great songwriting lesson in there, because we're all about that too. I just want to say, I can't tell you how many songwriting appointments I've been in where we thought, well, it'd be better if we just flip these lines. Yeah. And so now I always look for that, in my writes.
Oh yeah, just to look. Well, it was pretty natural. It was because the underlying songwriting lesson in that for me was a reminder. Something Loretta would say to me a lot. Say every song we'd write. Say it how you'd say it.
Say it how you say it. That's right. Say it.
Mm-hmm. And the reason the lines were backwards because it wasn't quite chronological as the way she pictured the story unfolding. Mm-hmm. So we got this song, and after that we would write a song each time.
Really?
And she started wanting to write gospel songs. Mm. And she had her big birthday party at the Bridgestone Arena.
I remember that.
It was on April Fool's Day, 2019, and April Fool's Day is my birthday.
Is it really? So it's your birthday.
And my favorite color is red. Loretta's favorite color was red. And so she was wearing this red jacket and these bright red boots. And on April 1st, they said, well, come and be our guest because it's your birthday. We're celebrating Mama's birthday, which is April 14th. And would you come over to the house and pray with her before we take her to the show? Mm-hmm. And then you can ride with the family over to the show at the Bridgestone. So I went over to her house and helped her get those red boots on. And I didn't ever see what jacket she was going to wear, but I had picked a red jacket to wear that I had purchased on a mission trip to China. Really bright red, so silk jacket. So I went over and helped her get the red boots on. Anointed her with oil on her forehead and with frankincense and myrrh. I had one with me that day. It's called Sacred Mountain. It had ling in it. It really smelled good. She loved that oil. Wow. Prayed for the show, prayed for all the performers. And then we went to the show. She went to her dressing room backstage. I put on my jacket. She comes out of her dressing room with a bright red jacket that looked identical to the one I was wearing. I thought, oh my gosh, people are going to think I did this on purpose. It's going to look so hokey. Like I'm a Loretta groupie, which there's nothing wrong with that. But
nothing wrong with that.
It was total irony.
Twinsies.
But as she came out of the dressing room, someone handed her some white roses. Mm. And she's smelling these roses while everyone's taking photos of her. And I was standing there with my cell phone, and I snapped a picture of her ignoring the crowd around her just to take time to smell those roses. Oh, yeah. So after that show, when we went back to write, I said, all right, I have this. I took this picture of you. Did you like it? Yeah. I said, well, I feel like this photo made me think of a song we should write called A Song and a Prayer. Mm. Because there were just some ideas that were coming. So we sat and wrote that song the week after her birthday bash. And as we wrote the song, A Song and a Prayer, we started talking about how she said, well, I want to write more gospel songs with you. We need to write a bunch of gospel songs because these were the last songs that she ever wrote. Yeah. Mm. And so she said, I want my faith expressed, and I want to say it even bigger than these songs can say. And I want to let people feel like people are in these sessions with us, in this prayer meeting with us. And so we wrote that day also the first devotional called A Song and a Prayer. And after that, we just kept on going. And so
I'm going to play it here in just a little bit, but you got a little
okay, yeah. So you'll be able to hear the song, A Song and a Prayer. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to let you hear a little bit of the reading from that devotion.
Love to hear it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit of the reading from Better Way to Say Goodbye, because those
I'd like to play both those songs if we could.
Yeah, because both of those are two different writing sessions. Mm-hmm. One's a sad country song, and one is a gospel song. Okay. But they both went into this devotional book, and to give you a taste of how that works. So each devotion starts with, say like day one is the devotion, A Song and a Prayer, and each chapter contains the lyric, and each chapter is named after the song, and each devotion is what we were talking about as we wrote the song that inspired the song. Amazing. So we would open our Bible, we would leave it open as we wrote, every song, even the country ones. Wow. And so the day one started with a verse from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew where Jesus said, "Consider the lilies of the field, how God takes care of them, and he'll take care of you too." And so this devotion begins. Most people don't stop to smell the roses. They're too busy worrying about everything. And people are the same in every generation. They just find new things to worry over. Times may change, but people don't. It boils down to every human being on God's green earth wanting to feel safe and important, which boils down to everybody wanting to be loved. The thing is, you can't get what you already have. So chasing love around in all the wrong places is a lot like a dog chasing its tail. The truth is that God loves every single person the same, and he takes care of us all with tender, loving care when we let him. And even when we don't really. All you have to do is accept the amazing love that has been there for you all along. And so that conversation went into the song, A Song and a Prayer.
That's awesome. Let's play it for you right now. This is the title cut from the new album and the new book, Song and a Prayer. Kim McLean is our guest. Written with Loretta Lynn. Loretta Lynn, the queen of country music.
If I could find the perfect prayer, I would search my soul so deep, just to have a way to say to you, Lord, how much you mean to me. The only way I've made it through this world is by your tender loving care. You're so close right now, hope is all around, in a song and a prayer. So I sing to you, let my heart shine through, may my voice reach heaven's gates. It's just a melody that you gave to me, full of joy and full of grace. Spirit like a dove, carry all my love to the Lamb of so fair. With this life I live, my most precious gift is a song and a prayer. Every prayer is like a butterfly, so fragile yet so strong. When I feel you drawing close to me, I know you've been there all along. I get on my knees to talk to you, but my soul can't help but sing. My song takes flight in your holy light and flies away on angel's wing. So I sing to you, let my heart shine through, may my voice reach heaven's gates. It's just a melody that you gave to me, full of joy and full of grace. Spirit like a dove, carry all my love to the Lamb of God, so fair. And with this life I live, my most precious gift is a song and a prayer. Just life I live, my most precious gift is a song and a prayer. With this life I live, my most precious gift is a song and a prayer.
It's beautiful. Amazing message. And, so powerful to think about. These are the last songs written by Loretta Lynn. And you just almost hear her voice. And you know what? I close my eyes and I listen to you do some of the songs and I've seen you play so many times. But to play the ones that you've written with Loretta, I can almost hear Loretta through you. I mean,
right.
You can. It's kind of scary.
That's a good thing,
but it's
though.
cool,
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have similar range and similar roots.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So
you have tremendous people on this record, too.
Yes.
Tell us who's all playing on this.
Oh, what a great group. We have, first I called Wanda Vic Birchfield, who plays on the Opry a good bit, plays dobro, fiddle.
You've got to be good to
guitar,
be in that band.
All things stringed. She's amazing, and I've been working with her and with her husband, Mark Birchfield, on bass. He plays all kinds of bass, upright, electric, fretless. The great musicians in town do, but he's just extraordinary. And so I called them, and I recorded this at their studio called Watershed Studios.
Okay.
So they've played on my last several records, but they've also worked with Loretta, so that was neat.
Wow.
And then I called Eddie Bayers, who has played on quite a few of my records and records that I've produced. Mm-hmm. He was the first drummer to be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
And that happened, I guess, last year, I believe, or it might have been the year before last. Anyway, he's a fairly recent inductee. Dear friend and extraordinary, as many people know. And Scotty Sanders played lap steel. We had that instrument that you heard on there that sounded kind of mountainy. Yeah. That was a hammered dulcimer.
I love the sound
played
of that.
by Craig Duncan.
Wow.
You can't find a lot of hammered dulcimers in the industry. So he was delightful, and that was very fun to produce. That the album was engineered by the great Jim Deneen, who's been around a good long while. And let's see, what else did we have on there? I know I'm forgetting some amazing players. Well, I played the acoustic guitars.
You played,
Thank you very much.
Good, yeah.
I had Eve Sellas and Randy Driscoll sing harmonies.
I love them too. So. And they've both been on the show. And Eve's got an album coming out real soon, and we hope to have her back. Randy just recently was on the show. And then if you look back, there's Eve with Kim that did a beautiful show for us. I think early in season 3, so check that one out.
Yes. Yeah. So we all sing on each other's albums.
Oh, and great voices. You guys harmonize and blend. They call themselves the Three of Hearts when they play together, and you are so awesome. Just love it. Hey, let's take a little break, and when we come back, we've heard the story about A Better Way to Say Goodbye, and I want to play it. So
okay.
Don't go away. Kim McLean is our guest on the podcast.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection, connecting with music makers and hearing their songs and stories. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Yeah, Three Hearts. I played at the listening room in Pigeon Forge last month. By the way, I just got news today that they lost their lease, and they're closing the Pigeon Forge.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's terrible. But anyway, I got in there, I got into the green room, and I see this great big heart, and it says, the Three of Hearts, and it sounded like you and Eve and Randy. And I took out my little Sharpie, and I wrote, and the Joker, Dave Linehan. We got to play a show one time, and I was the Joker. Three Hearts and a Joker.
Yeah, that's a great show. We need to take that one on the road a little more.
We should.
Yeah.
Next time I get a Bluebird round, can we do that?
Please.
Yes. Let's do that. Okay. Kim McLean is our guest. We're talking about this great new book and CD that accompanies it called A Song and a Prayer with Loretta Lynn. And you talked a little bit about A Better Way to Say Goodbye. Was that the first one you guys wrote together?
It was. The very first one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you told us a little bit about the story. You had the idea, and she said, well, if we flip some lines. What else can you tell?
It just happened like a conversation. I told her those first 2 lines. I kind of played her the feel I had in mind. Mm-hmm. And she said a line, I said a line. She got a line, I got a pole, and off we went.
I'm thinking alike there. I got a line.
It funneled down to this amazing hook, and And it just happened so naturally. You almost didn't know you'd been writing a song.
I love it when it happens that way.
I love the devotion that we wrote with this song. Can I tell you a little bit of it? Because this devotional book is not all Christian songs. I mean, we wrote, Loretta and I wrote 12 songs and a book together. But we have a 30-day devotional. So we wrote a devotional about Coal Miner's Daughter.
Oh, yeah.
We wrote one about Still Woman Enough. And just how this, because all music, we would talk about all music is God's music. Mm-hmm. All of life is teaching us.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I really do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
my brother and I, we played in church and things and stuff, and we always still, even when we weren't playing religious songs, we always felt closer.
Yeah.
We thought we felt closer to God when we played music.
Yes.
And
And certainly lots of bright gifts can be used for dark reasons, but
yeah, that's true.
We didn't do that, so
we didn't do that.
Doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. But play, and then we're going to play the song. Yeah. Tell me
so
about
there's a moment in let me see if I can find better. Oh, here's a better way to say goodbye. It's day 13, and we used a passage from Colossians that says to be kind and compassionate and humble, which we know that's a good theme in country music, right?
It is humble and kind.
But this devotion says nobody likes to say goodbye. It always means you're about to miss somebody you love. Mm-hmm. It's easier when you know they'll be back soon, and harder when you know they won't. But there's a different kind of hurt when somebody says goodbye to you in a mean way. Some things in life are a given. Everything changes, and everyone says goodbye. So many things are out of our control, but one thing you can control is how you treat other people. Mm-hmm. And we said, Jesus told us to love our enemy, and God says that vengeance belongs to Him. So when you have to say goodbye to someone, just get on with your life and trust that everything will be okay, because endings are part of life. But one thing Loretta said, and I'll skip down to the end of this chapter, she says, you don't have to be cruel when you say goodbye to someone, even if you're mad at them. Just let them go. And she says there's more good in this world than bad. You're not bad or dumb if you've trusted the wrong person. You're just a loving person. Now you've learned. You might get hurt again, but it won't be as bad because you'll be stronger. And as you learn to trust yourself again, you'll find that there are still plenty of trustworthy people in this world. And so...
Beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. Let's play it. Better way to say goodbye. Kim McLean from the new album and book, Song and a Prayer.
Yes. You could have left a letter on the table, could have tacked a note up on the door. It would have hurt bad then, but by now I'd be okay. Surely there was one kind word you could have found. You never even tried. There must be a better way to say goodbye. For you, love never happened. You had me fooled right from the start. I gave you everything I could, but you walked all over my heart. There's a million things you could have done. Think you tried them all on me. There must be a better way to say goodbye. I didn't know you were unhappy, heard it from everybody else. I could have never ever made you hurt like this. Well, getting over you won't be so easy. I'm running out of places to hide and cry. There must be a better way to say goodbye. For you, love never happened. You had me fooled right from the start. I gave you everything I could, but you walked all over my heart.
what you think there should be.
Yes.
I love it. That's great. And it just seems like something Loretta would have put in this song. There'd have been a million things you could have done, and you tried them all out on me.
That's totally her line.
Is it her line?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And I lit up when she said that.
I would have too.
Exactly.
That's right.
She just summed up the whole story in that.
How about that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that melody when you walked all over my heart. She did her, if you all could see me, I'm doing my hand like this, like a descending, to get me to sing that melody correctly.
Wow. So she heard the melody, how it
she sang that. She was very, very melodically strong, as you can imagine.
Oh, you can.
And you love that fiddle in there?
I love that fiddle.
Wanda and Mark's daughter Victoria was one of the students who was on your podcast with my students.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
Yeah.
That's something. I've run into a couple of those around town, three of them now around town. I was on your podcast. So that was a lot of fun. I saw an EPK today online, and I loved watching it about my friend Loretta's shows that you're doing. Oh. And this is something that you're going to start traveling and doing this year?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 2024.
2024.
See, we're already in 2024 in our heads, right?
In our heads, yeah.
Yes, I'm booked through a company called Live on Stage, and I'll be doing, we've got some dates several around Texas, Washington State.
Wow. So you're going to get very, very busy.
New Mexico, some places.
Wow. Seeing the world with your music.
Yes, it's the gift that keeps giving, isn't it?
Well, you've got to love that. You have to love
do.
That. Yeah.
I do.
Back 2023, I know it's been bittersweet, but you've got a lot to be thankful for this year, too,
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Yeah, this is the year my mom went home, but it's been a year of blessing, a year of rest, a year of healing, a year full of hope. Yeah. Just all good.
And you're touching so many people with this book and the messages that you have here. So
I hope so. It really mattered to both Loretta and I, and it's her. She wanted to use the platform of her name, but it was very much her heart to say, Loretta Lynn already has a name, but I want to do my part to glorify Jesus Christ. He's my Savior. The last song that we ever wrote, she gave me a guitar, which we have here in the studio with us. She signed it.
Brought that guitar today,
and it's got a picture of her on it. She said, "Okay, when you travel around and sing these songs, I'm going to be following you. That's why I'm giving you one with my picture on." And that was the day we ate.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was the day we ate fried green tomatoes. I love telling this story because I went in. She had a kind of little parlor area in her room, and her person who worked for her came in with this tray of fried green tomatoes, and you can almost hear them still sizzling from the pan, right? She said, she makes the best fried green tomatoes. You got to try these. So we both just instinctively just grabbed one and took a bite. And Loretta jerked her hand away, but she still had that big bite. And I was, whew, that's hot as hell.
Burned her mouth.
We were both. I don't think I had any skin on the roof of my mouth for a few days.
Oh, no.
And we ate our fried green tomatoes, and they were very good. So I think we finished off the whole tray. And then she said, I have a song we have to write. We have to write it today. And I'd never seen her quite that adamant. Yeah. She was very adamant about a few of the songs. God Has a Heart Too was a big song idea for her, to say, people talk about God like he's big and strong, but he has a heart too.
He has a heart too.
And you can break God's heart if you don't love God back.
Oh, interesting concept.
And so I love that idea. Yeah. God never gave up on me. She said, I hadn't lived the perfect Christian life, but now I know God's been with me all along. But she's always been faith-based. Yeah. But she just had this feeling in her heart like something even more profound had evolved and come to place. And so...
and you just think about her story. I mean, coal miner's daughter, born very poor, married very young, had those kids. She was like 13, 14,
Yeah.
And became a superstar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, what are the odds?
You could just see, but she never wanted to use her fame to exalt herself. I mean, when you talk to Patsy, when Patsy and I do things together, she'll say, it was just, she was just working. She was just singing because she loved to sing. And she just, it was all about, and so that's how it was with this Dave. She wanted to write My Best Friend. She said, Jesus is my best friend. He's always been my best friend. Could we write that in a song today? I feel like we need to say it. So she gave me this guitar. Tim walked in, Tim Cobb, her dressmaker and manager or assistant for years. Patsy was her manager. But walked in with this beautiful guitar that says Honky Tonk Girl on it. And she signed it with a Sharpie and surprised me with it. And,
how about that? And it's got a picture of very young Loretta.
It does, and it says
gorgeous.
To Kim, love Loretta Lynn. And so I said, so first we sang it As Well With My Soul. So that's the first song that went into that guitar or came out of it. Wow. And then we wrote that song.
On this guitar?
On that guitar. And then the Lord took her home, and we didn't get to write another one.
Oh.
So I think of it try to write all my songs with that guitar now. Or I've kind of been a season of that.
Yeah.
Because I'm
inspirational
very
guitar.
moody with my writing, so I write with all different
You
things.
see this one right here?
Yeah.
This belonged to my brother Russ, who we lost 10 years ago. And his wife gave that to me. I sang Go Rest High on That Mountain at his ceremony with that.
It's beautiful.
And now it's my writing guitar, too. There's just...
Those fret markers, is that a...
Yeah, they're little sharks. It's a range song. It's there's carbon fiber. I was with him the day he bought that guitar.
Wow.
I love that guitar.
Wow, chills.
So I kind of get the feeling that it's almost like Loretta's here with us.
It is.
And she's one I never met. I saw her perform a couple times, but I never did get the chance to meet her. But I've heard so many great stories.
Well,
about
she would
her.
have loved you. She would have said, "What a great voice you have! You must be a great singer."
Well,
you're in your radio. You got this radio voice, but anyway.
Yeah. But well, I loved her too, and I remember seeing her at my first trip to Nashville. It was like 1980, and we were at the opera house. Opera house was still kind of new then, And I remember we were sitting with the radio folks in the very front row, and she was a surprise guest. She came out. I remember she had this beautiful blue dress. And she walked out to the circle, and she started singing, and we're just looking up, going, "Oh my God, that's Loretta Lynn!" Oh my God, she was amazing, beautiful, so beautiful,
just as real as
Yeah.
A funny thing it was when I was first talking to Loretta that first day. I had done this tour in Ireland with an artist, Shannon Morrison, and my son was with me. And my son and I watched Coal Miner's Daughter while we were in Ireland. I think it had been out a while. But then when that hadn't been that long before, and when I met Loretta, all I could she was talking. I thought, gosh, she's so much like Sissy Spacek.
Well, Sissy did a wonderful job.
Yeah, no, wait, this is backwards. That they're so similar. Their bone structure is similar. The set of their eyes and their mannerisms, and Sissy Spacek really did capture it. But Loretta started talking with. She liked to watch that movie.
Did she? Mm-hmm. Wow.
She watched it many times, from what I understand. I didn't watch it with her, but she would talk about it. And it, because it was so accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just really, really accurate. And when you were there in the room with her, in her house, with her kids, you could tell. And so I kind of take it, when I see movies like that are done, I take it pretty seriously because they do a great job.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. People care deeply. Like, Annette Bening is just doing this thing about Diana Nyad and Jodie Foster.
Yeah,
they
right.
put
I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen it's out there.
Actresses like that, and they meet with the actual person, and they put a lot of care into it.
They sure do.
But Loretta cared that movie told the truth.
Wow.
And that it was authentic.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear.
I thought that was neat.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch it again for Christmas.
I think I'm going to too. Find that. That's a great film.
I just talked myself into watching it again.
Let's do it together. I'll make the popcorn.
I know.
I have time for one more song, and it's a special song with a great story. And I wondered if you'd share that story about the angel in the stone. First of all, before I do that, I have to tell you that very recently I had a chance to watch you perform at the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yes.
At the Ford Theater in there. And you did a book signing that day, and that must have been a special day.
It was. I was nervous.
At the Hall of Fame? Oh, my God. Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. I thought, I was nervous. I'm still nervous talking about it.
You were wonderful. You were amazing.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe the Opry will be next.
And it was a packed house. It was full house.
It was. What a great crowd. Oh, my goodness. They were so awesome to sing to because, well, that kind of took over the nervousness.
Yeah.
But I was nervous because I was there with this project. I'm not just representing Kim McLean. I'm representing me and Loretta.
Loretta, that's pressure.
It's a tall order.
Yeah.
Like, yikes. And so...
Oh, but she'd have been so proud of you. Man.
I hope so.
I know she would have.
I hope so. Because everyone was kind of leaning in that day.
They were. And I love the fact that at the end you opened the floor up for questions. I'm going, oh my God, here it comes. Did you write lyrics or chords for I was like, here we go.
We knew that question was going to come. I tried to be ready for it. I can't answer a question short in case you haven't noticed by this interview, but
no.
I tried.
You tried. It was great. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful performance from beginning to end. I only got to see the end because of a Uber driver who, but it's a long story. But I made it.
You can catch it online. It'll be there in perpetuity.
Oh, good.
And if I watch it, I will criticize every note that I think is just a hair under or just a hair something.
Why do we do that to ourselves?
I don't know.
I'm the same way.
It's the artist's curse.
You know?
Yeah.
I like to play a lot at the Commodore Grill here in town. And on the weekends, they do they do a stream. And then they send you like, here's a link. You can watch your stream. Please share it. And I'm like, I can't watch that.
It's hard.
I'll take it apart. I'm terrible.
You have to do it some to get better. But gosh, that's never gotten easy for me.
Oh, yeah. Me neither.
Yeah,
me neither.
Keeps us humble.
To radio days, we used to do air checks. Then you'd listen to them and go, I don't want to. Yeah. So anyway, the story that really touched my heart, and I've heard you do this a couple of times, is The Angel in the Stone.
Yeah.
It's such a great story.
Yes.
And it's the only one on the album you didn't write with Loretta?
Yes, and it's interesting
Loretta,
that I put it on
forgive us.
there.
We're going to do it.
Yeah, she won't mind.
Okay.
Well, when we wrote the book, I created a CD, started it before Loretta passed, but sadly she didn't get to sing on it. And I knew that would disappoint people, but that there wasn't a choice. But I recorded the songs because when you read the book, you can Google every single song in there and hear Loretta singing it, except the 9 that we wrote together that are in the book. Well, obviously they're in the book because that's the whole point of the story.
Right.
But, you're reading all these lyrics and the song, the melody's going through your head. Well, you can only know how 9 of them go by listening to the CD. So I started, and I told Loretta, I better record these because, and then the Lord took her home. So we wrote 12 songs in all, and 3 of them are yet to be... We'll see where life leads. 9 of them made it into the book for whatever reason, based on our conversations and the other songs we discussed. And when I went to make the CD, I wanted it to have a rounded out 10 songs.
Okay.
And I have a lot of fans who had been requesting me to record the song Angel in the Stone. I wrote it in 2017. I was in the intense, the eye of the storm of a devastating heartbreak. I felt that I had lost the love of my life. I had been so, you know how it is. Things that only a song can say, right?
Right.
So one day I was leaving Trevecca, driving down 8th Avenue, and I was passing by the First Lutheran Church downtown where I used to have some ministry, so I knew the pastor there, and I was hurting so much in that moment. I couldn't cry. I couldn't breathe. I don't know how to describe it. And every day was like that for over a year.
Oh my God.
And I don't know that I don't know that I'd ever loved quite that deeply, quite that way or something. I don't know what that was. But I stopped at the church and I knocked on the door and said, I need to just come in and pray. And they've got this giant mural of Christ ascending. And I knew I needed to ascend out of this darkness. And they said, well, we're leaving for the day, but you can stay, just make sure pull the door tight when you leave. So I'm in this great big Lutheran church by myself. Ironically, churches are scary when you're in them by yourself if they're stone and stained glass. But I went in the sanctuary and went up under that, up to the altar, light on the marble altar, under that big mural of Christ so I could see Jesus' toes. And I laid there just prone and stared at the ceiling and just prayed silently. I just listened. It's like, I don't even know how to say, I don't know what to say. I just lay there like, what has happened? Why is this happening? How can this beautiful gift that you gave me be so gone? And how will I ever heal? And I'm so afraid. And so I laid there and waited and let my mind empty and let my heart fill with God's presence. And when I got up from that spot, there's a baby grand piano on the platform. And I walked over to it and just placed my hands on a chord. And when I did that, it unlocked this song, and the whole song sang out. Just like the songs I was writing with Loretta. It just sang, like it sang to me. Wow. I played it and sang it. It was really amazing. And
it is amazing.
Later, then I grabbed, and I had a guitar with me. I never go anywhere without a guitar and a Bible. And I went over and picked up the guitar and started, oh gosh, that's really pretty. So I jotted down the words so I wouldn't lose it, because it was coming from this place where a spiritual place. And so I played it on the guitar after I jotted down the words. I may have not even done that. I may have recorded it, had the wherewithal to record it on my phone. And as I started playing it, I remembered that recently I had read a story about Michelangelo. And this story was in the book, The Artist's Way. If you're a songwriter, you've probably read it, and if you haven't, you're going to want to. Powerful, powerful book. She tells the story of Michelangelo, who carved the stone of David into. He made a statue of David, and someone asked him, "How did you carve that such a beautiful, elegant statue from that stone?" He said, I didn't. It was already in the stone. I just saw it, and I chipped away the pieces that didn't belong. And I realized that that's what every song is. You wait for the song. You let the song find you. You chip away the notes and words that don't belong, and you end up with these masterpieces, whatever the song is.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's what I was as I was laying on that floor, that God was beginning the process to chip away the things that didn't belong in my life, that didn't belong, that weren't really mine. And as hard as it was, I had to let that heartache go. And that was a pivotal day for me, where God did surgery on my heart. And then it was only a few months after that I met Loretta the following year. But and this song was born from it. So
amazing. We have to play it.
Yeah.
Chipping away the stones. This is
if I had a song left in me, you would be the one I would sing it to, my Lord, my love. If I had a word left to say, I would use the last breath I take to speak to you, my love. In this stone there is an angel. Chip away till my heart comes breaking through. Would you fly to my arms if they were open? I still cry for the times that I refused. Brush across my soul with a kiss till there's nothing more to forgive, and I am free, my love. In this stone there is an angel. Chip away till you find a perfect heart. Did I give? Have I given all you wanted? Or was it you making me a work of art? Chiseled by the tears I have cried, blow away the dust, I'm alive. Carry on, there's an angel in the stone. Wash across my soul with a kiss until there's nothing more to forgive, and I am free, my love. In this stone there is an angel. Chip away till you find a perfect heart. Have I given all you wanted? Is it you making me a work of art? Chiseled by the tears I have cried, blow away the dust, I'm alive. Carry on, there's an angel in the stone. Carry on, there's an angel in the stone. Carry on, find an angel in the stone.
What a gorgeous song. I want to tell you again, the name of the album and the name of the book is A Song in a Prayer. Yes. And they are some of the last songs that Loretta Lynn in this world gave us, along with our wonderful guest today, Kim McLean. Kim, all the best with this. And I want again,
thank you, Dave.
I really want to highly recommend you get the audio version of this and get the book too, because it's just great. But I mean, the audio version, we'll get to hear you sing and read the devotions, and I just love that. I do my morning walks. So anyway, thank you for taking the time and sharing the stories with us.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be back.
And we love you, Kim. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriter Connection podcast. Find us on social media at Songwriter Connection. Also, listen to Dave Lanahan's Nashville Connections radio show. It streams live every Friday morning on WOBL and WNOI. Look for us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next time on Songwriter Connection.